about 14% of a drop. And do bear in mind that as this has been happening, the currency has been inflating. So even as players feel like they are being pressured towards $80 games, what they're actually buying is getting cheaper and cheaper. And what's key is that this is not showing us what has been offered to players, it's showing us what players have actually chosen. It's showing the best-selling premium games on the platform. And that does feel like a bit of a win, right?
Yeah, I mean, look at that. 20, 10, 70, 60, 10, 70, 25, 15, 20, 7, 70, 75. That's a lot of really cheap games. That's a huge amount of them.
That we are seeing smaller teams with cheaper games beginning to dominate the sales space. That says a lot for the value of Steam, and in a world where people would have to compare the price of a full console plus a subscription for multiplayer and more expensive games, and weigh that up to a Steam machine with generally far cheaper games, well, I think it also makes the Steam machine look stronger as well. Overall, though, it's somewhat validating an argument you see all the time, right? The argument people make every time someone suggests an $80 price point, which is that you make your profit in aggregate. So make your games cheaper, and then more people will buy them. Buying four $20 indie games is to many people better than one $80 AAA game.
Well, I mean, the best proof of this isn't even that. It's the fucking free-to-play games. Like, all of these free-to-play games are cheap. Like, they're super cheap to play. They're free. But the difference is that they make their money with microtransactions. And that's what I think you're going to see more games doing, is that creating a lower entry point, but then having things inside of microtransactions in general. Because, like, really asking somebody to spend $70 and they don't even necessarily know whether they like something or not, that's pretty hard to ask somebody to do.
Surely that's what's going on. Surely that's what everyone's doing.
Yeah.
Well, ish. Let's look more into it.
Surely.
Carlos gave us the perfect example. It's the September releases on Steam, where Silksong sold like gangbusters at $20, with 4.6 million copies shifted on Steam alone. That's nearly double the sales of a full-price title, like Borderlands 4. The immediate takeaway is a lower barrier to entry at the price of a couple of coffees, meaning you give yourself the widest possible audience.
Well, it's also like somebody sees Silksong is really popular, and they look at it and they're like, oh, it's only like $20. Okay, yeah, I'll try it out. But like if they see a game and they see it's doing kind of well, or even really popular, and they see it's $70, like a $70 purchase is a big decision for a lot of people. A $20 purchase isn't quite as much. And so whenever you're dealing with those big numbers, and like you know this if you're broke, that it's easy to get $20 and it's impossible to get 100. Because like by the time you get to 100, something will have happened that you've needed to spend your money that now you're back down to zero again. I think that's what happens.
And in theory, that also means that more people can buy more games. But it's actually not quite that simple. You see, regardless of price, the majority of game players don't actually buy that many games. Circana's Future of Games report surveyed 2,500 US players on self-reported purchase patterns. About a third of the market says they buy just one game or fewer a year. Just under two-thirds, 63%, buy fewer than 2 games a year. That is...
I wonder how does... Yeah, I wonder, like, about free-to-play games. How does that factor into it?
Absolutely insane to me, but...
Yeah, it's nuts. Like Fortnite, Roblox, stuff like that. Because those are the most popular video games, right? Like, a lot of the most popular video games in the world right now are free. And, like, some people are mono gamers for these free games, so it's hard to say.
Maybe you do the same. We probably have a sampling bias, one that is in and around enthusiast gamers.
Yeah, sure.
We do buy more games, but it seems that with broader audiences, that is less the case.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, that's Circana doing a survey of 2,500 people in the US. It's good enough work. It's hypothesis-generating work, but obviously, it is just a survey.
Sure.
Though I would say that when
we
you
get more picky as the price goes up.
Overall, a lot of it is plausible. You see, a lot of people are only interested in buying this year's sport game or this year's Call of Duty. Well, maybe not this year's Call of Duty. Maybe they bought Battlefield instead. But the majority of any product-based industry is often people who are gently engaged in it, not people, perhaps, like you and me. But it's actually the top of the chart that complicates things here, because those people probably aren't the ones buying indie games for $20 en masse. No, That's the other 37% of people, but even that 37% is quite stratified. 22% say they buy a game every 3 months. That's 4 games a year, and that adds up
that's
to
a pretty good
Valve's own
amount.
data.
Yeah.
Yes, Valve's own data suggests
That's a lot.
that users played only 4 games on Steam on average in 2023 and 2024.
I feel like that's not a big surprise. Like, a lot of my friends probably play about that many too, like, you know, plus minus 1, I'd say. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people aren't going around playing constantly a bunch of games. And also, like, there's been a trend where more and more people play one singular big game all the time. And I think that's what's been happening a lot, is that, like, people get invested, like, the same as, like, people, there are people that are not gamers, but they play World of Warcraft every single day, all day, and they've been doing that for the last 10 years. I used to be one of them. So, really, I think it's extremely common to see people that are only playing a handful of games because they're already invested into one singular game.
A further 10% buy a new game monthly, which is, of course,
a new game a month.
Releasing
Yeah.
thousands of games a year.
That's a lot of
To put
games.
this in perspective, if you bought Silksong and any other game in September, 2 games in 1 month,
Yeah.
then you are only 4% of the games market.
Wow.
That's kind of wild. And even if we're allowed to some swing and fuzziness because a survey is only as good as the survey,
Probably 8% most, right? Yeah.
And of course, it's a point that we do see in a lot
Huge
of other
minority.
games as well. Take Whaling, right? Whaling and free-to-play games, where the majority of the revenue does come from a very small strap.
I actually haven't seen this menu in so long because I haven't played Star Rail since Pinnaconey. That, like, I haven't even thought about this. I really haven't. I haven't thought about this in a while.
Of that game's player base. And when
Man.
we see data like that, I think we begin to understand why all of those publishers and indie devs moved their releases away from Silksong, or of course, away from GTA 6. And in the case of the indies, would especially be
Is he just throwing shit at him?
at the same price point or cheaper than Silksong. So if you're releasing against Silksong, a game with massive cut-through to enthusiast audiences, if you're releasing against that, then, well, you're betting on the 4% of the market turning up.
Yep.
That does actually buy multiple games a month. That doesn't really seem...
Do you remember all the developers that were mad at Silksong for releasing their game? They were like, you can't just release the game whenever you want. You have to tell us when it's going to come out. You can't just release it right now. Well, what about our game?
Good brain
Jesus
strategy
Christ.
does it.
Remember that? That was
And
ridiculous.
here's the kicker. What if I told you there's another layer? You see, this chart does not distinguish between new games and already released games that are on sale. Every time someone buys a game that's been out for 6 months, they're probably not buying a new game that month to go along with it, regardless of price. So, more people aren't buying games, even as prices keep trending down. Now, if that
Because
is
they don't need to. That's the reason. Like, you go and you look, right? This shit's free. You just play it. You just log on and play the game.
Speak your mind.
That's it. That's crazy. So why does somebody need to go and spend all this money to play a game if you could just play a game for free?
the case, as a bunch of this data suggests?
That's a lot.
Well, why then are audiences feeling like they are constantly being asked for more and more? When people are asked to pay $80 or $70 for a video game, Nintendo, Microsoft, or Sony are basically banking on a fairly simple principle, that the people who actually have money will spend it regardless of anything else that's going on.
Sure.
Essentially, they're betting on it being a premium product with inflexible demand. That is why marketing teams target those people. That's why those absurd collector's editions exist, right? The people who absolutely...
It's for whales. Like $109 for a collector's edition of a game? That's insane.
Love games and
ridiculous.
have money. They're the people these companies can count on. The games industry basically thrives in people who can spend without thinking about it.
How about the console players? They're ostracizing half of the gaming community when you determine if a game is good or not based on how it does on Steam. I think that a slice of apple pie is still indicative of the fact that it came from an apple pie. So when you take a representative sample from a group of people, then that representative sample is being used to create a larger trend. So are there going to be games that are more popular on console than PC and vice versa? Sure, of course. But I think the general trend is that if a video game is like doing very well on console, it's probably also doing very well on PC. And if it's doing well on PC, it's probably also doing well on console. Like I've never really heard of a game that's like a massive failure on one thing, but it's like really it's doing great on another. Generally, and this is especially true for trend graphs, right? So like the numbers might be wildly different. Like for example, Call of Duty is much more popular on console, for example, or FIFA. FIFA is another good example. But I bet the player base for FIFA and the people that are regularly playing FIFA, like let's say on console it started at 1 million, and on PC it started at 100,000. I would expect that by the middle of the year, theoretically, if console went down to 500,000, then PC would also go down to 50,000 respectively. And I think that's generally what you can do. So a representative sample is not a numerical guide, but it should be used as an inference point to decide where the data is going. Does that make sense?
Commerce upgrade complete.
Which has always been the case. Buying more than one $60 game at launch has been unaffordable
for trends.
To people
For trends.
Years. But the problem is the proportion of people with money to spend freely actually does appear to be shrinking. Get this. As of September...
No way! We've never been to the store before!
The top 10% of earners accounted for 50% of US retail sales. And the very same year, spending...
Oh my God. Top 10... That's I've never heard of this statistic. Top 10% of earners drive a growing share of consumer spending?
Very wise.
Wow.
Our forces
That's
have
nuts.
engaged the enemy.
Here, spending in games is actually down.
Another planet
The
joins
18 to 25
the
age group in the US
course.
is spending nearly a quarter less in games this year. And everyone...
That's a lot less than I expected.
Is down a couple of percent.
God damn.
But on the whole, most game spending is only a few points down. Now, given we're in rough economic times, that could seem like a good thing, right? Oh, the world is experiencing troubles, but games are only down in most categories by a few percent. What if I told you it's actually worse than that? You see, the difference that's being made up, right? What's made this only a few points down? Well, it's basically subscriptions making up the difference, because those have grown all year. But that comes from the...
That's why everybody's doing subscription services, is that everybody complains about it, but they still buy them. That's the problem. They still buy them even if they complain. Do you think economies will improve or die more? I think the economy will increasingly become more polarized, where people that don't have a lot of money will continue to have an increasingly less amount of money, and people that do have more money will increasingly generate more money and more wealth. I think that's very clearly where things are going. This is not a five-head prediction. This is a middle of the bingo free square prediction. You can just watch the trend. It's been happening for the last 50 years.
Bottom of the spending population, not the top, right?
That's where
it comes from
we're
people
at.
who are seeking more.
This is why I put my daughter on
OnlyFans. Increasingly limited dollars, whilst also spending less and less on premium games. And I think that is the big tension that people are feeling. We're in a situation where game marketing, traditional big games, are basically out of reach to most of the audience, more so than perhaps ever in recent memory. But the companies haven't changed how they talk to players as a whole. A lot of the market has changed underneath those companies, but it's not really like it seems they've really changed their comms to match. And that is leading to people feeling ignored. It's leading to people facing demands that they cannot meet.
$70
and that's because the companies that used to be targeting them are now not targeting them. They are targeting someone with more disposable income.
That's right. That's what happens with free-to-play games. This is why every free-to-play game ends up catering to whales. Is because imagine you don't vote, but somebody else votes $5,000 a year. That's a lot of votes. And that's exactly what happens. Why would you pay $70 for a game just to get disappointed when you can buy 4 to 7 indie games for that money? Exactly, yeah. It's a huge amount of money. $80 for a digital copy of a video game that's not even a collector's edition. I'm sorry, but like, yeah, you're going to have some people that are in that top 10% of income. Like, I would say that the top 30% of people in America can afford something like that without it being really you know, a very high friction transaction. But I would say that maybe 50% of people, and this is in America, right? This is one of the richest countries in the world. Think about what it's like everywhere else in the world. So when you're selling a video game and you're only able to monetize 30% of the most developed countries in the world, well, you're going to have a hard time making a lot of money.
That's a tough
Just the way it is.
But by contrast, the $20 games on Steam are changing. Individual indie developers are watching game prices creep lower and lower. And they're just hoping that they will get enough sales to succeed, because they cannot afford to price higher and risk player blowback.
True.
Now, we're not quite
Very
at the
true.
mobile game space, where developers basically can't afford to price games as premium products
They
anymore.
can't at all.
But we are seeing a shift in how games are sold. And what that may lead to may not be great for all of us. Because if you can't ask players for more than $25 without facing comparisons to Silksong, then you may start having to scope your development very differently indeed.
That's where they're going to use AI. That's why they're going to use it. It's to save costs.
Future is ours.
And that means that some traditional games simply would be out of reach. It could also mean that
If you can't go to market with a
Your time
viable
has
consumer
come.
product, then you don't deserve to be in the market. That's the way it is. That's life. You don't like it? You think it sucks? It's not fair?
Our forces
Let's
have
say you're right
engaged
about
the
everything.
enemy. Heathens
You still
be
go out of
purged.
business.
do feel more and more nickel and dimed. So, it's not all doom and gloom.
Yeah.
It actually seems there's a lot of
Speak your
vibrancy in
mind.
the indie scene. But
I
we
think
are
that video gaming right now is better than it's ever been. I will say that. I think it's
Do
not even close.
dare resist.
seeing is a changing
Commerce
market,
upgrade
changing
complete.
behaviors, and
It's
a
a lot
AAA
better.
sector that is struggling to keep up pace with that change. So no wonder they're out of touch. And speaking of out of touch,
Yep.
Bungie. That's certainly something a lot of people would say about them, and they have
not
just
so
had some
good,
not
huh?
so rosy news.
credits are
Basically, a
required.
big write-off at the same time that they kind of admitted they shat the bed with
Yeah.
Destiny 2. If you want to learn about that, watch this video next.
Man, I do feel like this is a good video, and I'm very glad to see that game prices are going down. Like, I was actually pretty worried that this wasn't what was going to happen. But if I look at this graph, right, I mean, this is a crazy decline in price for video games, and I hope that it continues,
Shields
right?
down.
Now, I think that's paying
You will
50,
be
60 bucks for a
purged.
game, that's fine if it's a fully AAA
Last
game,
chance to
and
join
even
the
$70. Like, I mean,
Civilian
realistically, would I
structure
pay? Let me
complete.
give the video a
Last
like. It's a
chance to
Bellier
join
video.
the
I liked it a lot. And I
Research
always love
complete.
graphs like this that really kind of
Logistics
show what
upgrade
people are
complete.
doing. Bungie's
Last
gay? Is
chance to
Bungie
join the
gay? I
unity.
think they could be.
Death will
And I only buy
cleanse
games.
your
Only buy
sins.
games on sale.
Your
Yeah, I think a lot of people do. But hardware prices are going up. How can I play cheap games?
You are not worth my
Well,
time.
you've got to buy consoles, right? And this is what's going to happen: is that console prices are a lot more stable than the price of PCs, because PCs have granular costs, right, or aggregate costs. So you have like the cost of, you know, right now the RAM, which is really expensive, and then the power supply, and then the motherboard. And so if one of those goes up, it's going to raise the price of everything. But whenever you're making a console, the console's price is pretty much fixed.
Civilian structure
So in some
complete.
cases, that's a good thing. In other cases, it's a bad thing. But I think that in general,
your
it just depends
mind.
on what you want to do. So
Destiny
that's what I would say more than
unfolds.
anything. There's no RAM in my
Say no
PS5.
more.
Well, the way that
Civilian
like
structure
PS5s
complete.
and like consoles don't go up and down
to
in
the
price
death.
based off of
Civilian
individual
structure complete.
computer component
Speak
pricing.
your mind.
That just doesn't happen.
Another planet
And I think that if
joins
it
the
did happen,
unity.
it would be
The future
suicide for
is
that company.
ours.
And so that's the point that I'm making about it. Like, yes, very obviously, you know, RAM does go up and down, and it is in consoles, but it's not treated as this, you know, again, aggregate asset that's factored into the price of the
Mining upgrade
console
complete.
dynamically. And so that's the
Speak your
difference.
mind.
Recharge chatter. Yeah, of course. So like
Last
Xbox,
chance
tell it to
to join
Xbox.
the
Well, I
unity.
know that they increased the prices because of tariffs, right? But that's something that's very specific, and I wouldn't really expect that to be the norm. So yeah, that's at least what I'm thinking about it. What I think is going to happen. Nobody can afford video games anymore.
Desecrators assault our world.
Yeah.
Guys, we're in some serious trouble.
Gaming has been getting more expensive by the year, but right now it's about to get more expensive by the day. It already has. The same components that I have in my PC right now cost twice as much as they did just 2 years ago. RAM just rose by 200% in just the last 2 months.
Is RAM having what GPUs had like 4 years ago? Is that what's happening?
You transfer the credits. We'll handle
And I know some
your
people are going to look at this and say, "Oh, well, this is a
Yes,
PC
I
problem."
see.
No, all these different components, they're used in just about everything. Handheld,
I'm not as
consoles,
familiar with
whatever
it.
else. Everything is going to get dragged up with
It's
all
worse.
of this. What's happening right now is that AI is taking over the world. Who would have guessed it?
Wow.
And these data centers are doing
Surprise.
everything they can to be able to keep up with this AI gold rush because everybody wants a
Speak
piece
your
of that
mind.
money.
Yeah.
And that's pushed
Very
these guys to
wise.
raid the consumer market for products,
Yep.
buying up everything off the shelves before we even have a chance to get
Same
our
thing
hands on it,
happened
causing
in, like,
a lot of
2021.
scarcity and making prices skyrocket with no end in sight.
Yep.
The
More
part that
credits
really
are
bothers me with
required.
all of this is just how obvious this play is. These guys are
The
just getting
future
way too
is
sloppy for
ours.
me. It's starting to aggravate me at this
Very
point. Like, if you're
wise.
going to be a scammer, you got to try to hide it a little bit. But these guys don't even want to bother hiding it anymore.
No, they don't. People just eat this shit, man. They let it happen.
They're not trying to do anything
Yep.
to fix any of these issues. They're not scrambling to fix any of these supply issues. Instead, well, they're just they're milking it. They're keeping their production tight, they're raising the prices, and they're using AI as the best
Upgrade
excuse
complete.
possible for them to just continue to take advantage of regular people, to squeeze
Stand
you
by
harder
for
than they
phase
ever
jump.
have before. And they're doing it all with governments backing them. They're going to drag this out
Yep.
as long as they
Civilian
possibly
structure
can,
complete.
because every single month that they keep these prices higher, they're just going to continue to rake in record profits.
I think that the companies probably want to produce more of them. It's just that you can't make a supply chain change that fast. I mean, just realistically, like, you can't do that.
So today, what I
Your
want to do,
time has
And like,
come.
that's what happened with like the
Research complete.
graphics cards like
Do not
4 or 5
dare
years ago.
resist.
Wrong? It's
Your time
like,
has
look
come.
into it. The
Civilian
fact is
structure
that
complete.
sometimes the markets can
time
move
has
so
come.
fast that these companies aren't
Heathens be
able to adapt to
purged.
them. Like, another good example is
Your
cars.
influence
Like, we've
is
had the same
limited.
issue with cars,
have a deal.
especially with like different, I think it was semiconductors that were, or like some sort of chipset for cars where it was hard to even buy new cars. It's everything. It's control, brother. I think that I think that realistically, it's probably both. I think that there is a degree of manufactured scarcity, but there's also a degree of just a
Our
realistic
forces have
supply
engaged
chain
the
scaling
enemy.
logistics
Mining upgrade
reality.
complete. The future
I want to talk
is
about
ours.
those insanely high prices and who's
Civilian
causing it.
structure complete.
I want to talk about how I think the games industry
It's
is
Israel.
using this moment to be able to manipulate us.
I think
how
it's
I
Israel.
think
Research complete.
this entire thing might backfire on them in the most glorious
What's on your
of
mind?
ways.
As you
This video was
wish.
sponsored by Displayed, and right now they are running their biggest sale of the year. From now until the end of their
Civilian
campaign,
I got a
Structure
Displayed.
complete.
An ex-girlfriend
No
sent me a
mercy.
Displayed of Dark Souls
The
3.
future is
And
ours.
I put it up, and I remember reading
What's
this
on
thing.
your
It said,
mind?
don't put this on
Without
something that's an
delay.
uneven surface. And I'm thinking to
Shields
myself,
down. I am the Unity's servant.
who the fuck do
To
I
the
ever
death.
read? And so I
Speak
just
your
put it up
mind.
against an uneven surface. And I remember about an hour
Destiny
later,
unfolds. We're
I heard the
without
loudest sound.
The future is
The
ours.
loudest sound, and it was right there. So it's just like it started
Research
banging down the
We
fucking
answer the
stairs,
call.
and like, yeah,
Without
what's the worst that could
delay.
happen? The worst did
We
happen.
cannot go
Yep.
on. We're crippled.
you can get up to 46%
I don't know why. I don't know why Israel would do that to me, man. How could this happen?
off site-wide using my code Legendary at checkout. 1 to 2 metal posters for 37% off, 3 to 4 for 43, 5 or more at 46. The full breakdown is going to be in the pinned comment and on the on-screen banners, but this
it
is the best
time?
deal that you're going to see all year.
Ooh,
This
the
plate makes
skull.
high-quality
Very
metal posters that
The
mount
swamp.
magnetically, no tools, no frames, and no wall damage. You just
It's a
stick a
force.
magnet to the wall, snap the poster on. It only takes seconds, and these guys have over 1 million designs to be able to choose from. Games, anime, movies,
Warhammer.
fantasy, tech, you name it. And they're still running their officially licensed Path of Exile 2 collection. I definitely checked that out. I got a full set that was sent over to me, and every single one of these looks
Speak your
incredible
mind.
in person.
You know, like,
The future is
I don't know if I ever told
ours.
this story, but S-Fan had some of the
Destiny
fan art that was made for
unfolds.
us in Classic WoW. and it was like in the classic WoW beta, and he had them made in this place, and he was giving them out. And he had a smaller one made for my dad, and he gave it to me to give to my dad, and my dad had it at like his table, like the whole time. Like a small one. It was like me, S-Fandon, and McConnell, like you know, like looming over us, like he's a fucking like Merlin or something like that, like a fucking wizard.
Speak your mind.
Now, if you're looking for something a little bit more personal, check out their custom displays. You can upload your own images, photos, arts, memes, whatever you want, maybe a family portrait, and turn it into a gift-worthy metal print just in time for the holidays. Use code Legendary to check out. Hit the link in the description and take advantage of this year's biggest sale. We have talked a lot about prices on this channel, and we are going to continue to talk about prices on this channel, because if there is one thing that I actually want to bring to this space, it is awareness. Most people feel helpless when they see these prices spike. They feel like they're being pushed out of their own hobby, like decisions are being made for them by people who don't even care about games in the first place. But the more that you guys understand what's happening, the easier it is to see the pattern. And guys, navigating what's coming next is going to get very hard, very fast. After the reveal of the Steam Machine, the first thing I saw was everyone arguing about the price. A lot of people were convinced it needed to be $500 or $700.
It's going to be $1,000. I think it's going to be $1,099. That is my expectation. And I have bet 5 giveaways that if it is beyond plus minus $100 of that, I will give away 5 Steam machines to the community. That's where I'm at.
At max, and that Valve should subsidize it to bring in more users. A whole different topic for another video, because Steam does not need a loss leader to get more people through the door. But I took the time to actually dig into the potential hardware costs and ended up chiming in on Twitter saying that Valve isn't posting the price because they're hoping that things change. The AI bubble has pushed RAM to obscene levels, almost 200% this year. People are saying it should be $500. That's the price of RAM alone.
$500. Like, who thought that was going to happen?
Now, this is a bit hyperbolic. Sure, I was using the highest end hardware prices, but the more that I researched this trend, the darker the picture became, not just for Valve's console, but just for gaming as a whole. Right now, we're seeing hardware prices skyrocket across the board. All of it's tracing back to rapid data center expansion, a tidal wave of investment that's been poured into AI. According to Stanford, the U.S. has almost already spent $110 billion into private investments just in 2024. Global spending in generative AI is already up 600% between 2022.
Oh my God! Look at that graph. Total investments of billions of dollars. Jesus.
In 2024, and in 2025, that number is estimated to hit $1.5 trillion. With that kind of money flying around, AI firms are expanding their data centers and buying up existing hardware at a pace that consumers simply cannot compete with. That demand alone is enough to be able to drive these prices through the roof, and that's before you even factor in scarcity.
Yep.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. How many people have been ignoring this? We have seen companies and even the media try to blame these price hikes on tariffs. They've been doing it all year. We've covered it on this channel, but this isn't about trade policy. This is an increase. It's driven by raw demand for components, and everyone is just letting these hardware companies and these software companies spin whatever narrative they want, whatever narrative benefits them, with almost no pushback at all. How has nobody questioned this?
I think that the reason why is that, I mean, number one, tariffs are a more convenient thing for the media to use because they can blame that on Trump. So if you look at, like, this is the same thing with, like, I think eggs are a great comparison here. The reason why the price of eggs was so high towards the end of Biden's presidency is because there was an avian flu that went around and killed all the birds. That's the main reason why. It's not because of Biden. It didn't go down because of Trump. This was a third-party thing that happened, and both parties were trying to blame and then assign blame or avoid blame for this thing. Biden gave the birds the flu on purpose, so maybe he did. I don't know. He could be a wizard. But the point that I'm making is that, yes, I think that this is the same thing that happened with tariffs, is that media will never look at, because media is either trying to portray Trump as great or Trump as awful. So because Trump is aligned with tariffs, you're not going to get any sort of realistic,
we are exiles no longer.
any sort of like actual like information about this. You're not going to get a nuanced opinion on why the price of something is going up whenever you look at CNN or Fox News, because that's not what their goal is.
Hardware companies are making record money off of the AI boom. They're selling hardware by the truckloads to these data center giants. They're soaking up billions of dollars in new investment, and they're still not expanding production for consumers. Instead, they're keeping their supply.
I think that the reason why they're not expanding production is that a lot of these tech companies, I think, are waiting for what they believe is coming, which is some sort of like large technological innovation that is like in the process of being discovered or arrived upon. And I think that's the reason why you haven't seen a massive scaling of production lines. That's the reason why you haven't seen a massive increase in supply chains or anything like that. Quantum computing, yeah. Like people don't know what is AGI, what is quantum computing going to be, and how will it function and change our lives on a day-to-day basis, and how you actually, you know, fucking make something, and how valuable is it. Like a good example of this is cloud computing. Cloud computing, like we all know that in 50 years, we're going to be using cloud computing for basically everything, right? Like this is obviously where things are going. But the question is, when does that happen?
Research complete.
But it's inevitable that it's going to happen. But when it happens is the question. And I think that these companies don't want to invest into something that they feel like is a short-term gain.
They're raising prices. They're pouring all that new money into high bandwidth memory for AI. They could ease the pressure on the consumer market if they wanted to, but why would they do that when scarcity is letting them charge more? So squeeze the normal people while feeding the AI expansion that's only going to just make all of this so much worse. Gizmodo only recently picked up on this issue with an article titled "We're So Screwed," written by Kyle Barr, where Barr wrote,
I don't like this article because it reminds me of the Starforge website. It does. This looks just like the Starforge website. Like, what the fuck?
Is it time?
We have been reporting about the spiking cost of RAM prices since October. Essentially, AI data centers have such a demand for memory that the prices of SSDs, DRAM, and HDDs are all ballooning in price. This is most keenly felt in the discrete PC RAM market. Corsair, one of the most popular brands for fast gaming-ready RAM sticks, told Gizmodo over email, our DRAM prices have increased in response to the severe supply shortage we're seeing across the industry. And it just keeps getting worse. A pack of 64GB DDR5 RAM from memory brand Crucial spiked from $150 to more than $400 in just 2 months.
Wow. That's insane. I didn't know it was that big.
By Amazon's price tracking.
I mean, I haven't bought anything like a new computer thing at all. Like, is this true? I'm assuming this is true, right?
Site Camel. Other low-end RAM sticks may see less of a bump, but users will inevitably find that the more RAM they want, the more it's going to cost. 4 sticks of 16GB DDR5 RAM from Corsair now sells for an astronomical $688.
What the fuck? Because, like, before, this is the way it always used to be. It was GPU, CPU, RAM, and then maybe motherboard and power supply underneath of that in terms of, like, cost for a computer. Holy shit.
The same sticks in white demand $948, and
$1,000
they're not even the priciest RAM available. Guys, I want you to know that this is nothing like the crypto boom that we saw just a few years ago, where GPU prices were driven by a hype cycle that eventually died. AI is far more of a tangible technology. It is going to keep expanding.
Yeah, it's totally different than crypto.
It's going to keep improving, and it's going to keep getting massive support from governments and corporations worldwide. Yes, there is a bubble forming, something similar to the .com era, where only a few players are actually going to end up owning the market.
That's probably true.
Even when that burst happens, the winners are just going to buy up the losers' data centers, and they're just going to continue to grow. Even if
that's actually a really good point that he's bringing up, is that, like, whenever there is a consolidation of companies and consolidation of businesses, like what happened after the .com boost or boom, is that, you're probably not going to have a reduction in data centers. You're not going to have a reduction in, you know, like the amount of resources. There's just going to be a reduction of names, the different names on those resources. What about monopoly laws? Oh, I don't know, man. Why don't you ask Apple?
Expansion slows, that's still not going to fix anything for us. Keep in mind, after the crypto crash, GPU prices never really went back to normal, so hardware prices...
They went down. But he's right that they didn't go back to normal. This is one of the nastiest fucking things that companies do. And they did this with, like, McDonald's did this. Is that, like, they took the COVID pricing and then they made that the new normal.
Hostility research complete.
Might come down eventually, sure, but they're never going to go back to what we used to pay.
Yeah.
And this is not something that's just going to be
Yeah,
limited.
they go up 100% and then they go down, you know, like, let's just assume that all the numbers are the same. Like 85%. So you're still paying, theoretically, 15% more.
To memory or GPUs, it's going to stretch across every piece of computer hardware, gaming PCs, handhelds, consoles, phones, everything. It makes getting into the hobby, upgrading your setup, or even just replacing something that breaks insanely expensive for everyday people. And I think that's exactly what these companies want right now. They want to squeeze customers harder than they ever have while raking in all of this investment and government backing, all to feed these business-to-business sales while the rest of us are going to deal with the fallout. At this rate, the hardware market is going to become completely inaccessible for most people.
I think this is true in the immediate sense. I feel like if it doesn't change in like 2 years, you are going to say you're either going to have new players come into the space that offer something that's better, or you're going to see a technology change where it's more accessible. Like, just realistically, like, you can't leave a unanswered market for too long, because if you do, you're going to have other people come in and answer it for you.
People talk about how the Steam machine needed to be 500.
So guys, you just all you have to do is just not play video games for 2 years. Okay, that's it.
Or maybe $700 at most, and these guys do not know how fast these prices are moving right now. The costs have ballooned so much that I can easily see every single major console that's coming in the next couple of years costing over $1,000 when they get revealed. Now, I know some people are going to say, well, that's not going to work. Nobody's going to buy hardware at the...
I think that they will. I think that people don't understand how big of a wealth gap and how big of an equality gap we have in the country. The top 10% of income in America is like $150,000 a year or something like that. It's a ridiculous amount of money. People are... Like, people think that it's still like 2008. No, like, it's like everybody else. It's kind of like, let's say you're playing an MMO, and like 30% of the population bought the expansion to Burning Crusade, and you're sitting there and you're still in Classic. Well, what do you mean you guys have armor penetration? What? You can get that? Oh, wow.
These prices, and honestly, I think that's exactly what some of these companies are counting on. Nearly every major publisher in the gaming industry has gone all in on AI. EA just announced their partnership with Stability AI. Ubisoft has come back from their little media silence with some new AI deals and a push for AI teammates to replace making action.
It says AI teammates will make gaming more engaging and accessible. And again, I love Dragon's Dogma. This idea isn't bad. The implementation of it is sometimes bad.
Actual friends, which is incredibly bleak, but the clearest example here is Microsoft.
I know somebody who she talks to ChatGPT on a regular basis.
Mining upgrade complete.
Look at that shit. Who does this?
They have poured billions of dollars into OpenAI and Anthropic, and they've committed another $80 billion to AI-enabled data centers. They are directly feeding into the same expansion that is driving hardware costs through the roof, the same expansion that they blamed on tariffs. It is a mutually beneficial relationship for them, not for us. Guys, this is the oldest trick in the corporate playbook.
Well, this is the same reason companies are like, oh, yeah, things are so hard with COVID, so we have to make things more expensive. Okay, well, COVID's over. Are you going to make them less expensive?
It's a deal.
Oh, man, things are so hard with tariffs. We're going to have to keep things being so expensive.
Say no more.
Create a problem and then sell the solution. If people can't afford gaming hardware anymore, well, that becomes the perfect opening to be able to push cloud gaming, where you don't need to have a console or a PC, just a screen and a subscription.
Is the future.
I talked about this in my video. This is the last warning, where I argued that Microsoft was pushing prices higher on purpose to be able to funnel players into cloud services where they already have been testing ads inside of their games.
Absolutely. You will own nothing, and you will be fucking furious about it. You're fucking out of your mind.
D, you're crazy to think that. You're crazy to think that this
You
is all connected.
failed
Yeah.
Guys,
to place a
I do not
bid.
think you understand how
Stand
big the
by
gaming
for
industry
phase
actually
jump.
is.
It's
Okay?
larger than the movie. Oh, he's probably going to say the same thing.
The U.S. entertainment sector is the largest in the world, and gaming alone is 3 times. It makes 3 times as much as film and music
See.
combined.
Heathens be
It's still young,
purged.
it's still easy to
Our
manipulate,
forces
and there
have
is a lot
engaged
of
the
money on the
enemy.
table.
We
Hostility
haven't
research
even gotten
complete.
to
Your time has
hyper-realistic
come.
AI
Heathens be
cat girls.
purged. Your time
That's the
has
big
come.
one.
Do
And
not
we're not even
dare
there yet.
resist.
Anybody
Heathens be
that can wedge
purged.
themselves in that
Your
ecosystem,
time has
especially if they can figure
Do
out
not
how to force
dare
ads
That's the big
into
one.
whatever they want,
Your
whether we
time
like
has
it or
come.
not.
Yep.
So when I see this, I do not see a bunch of different
Do
trends
not
happening all
dare
over the place. I
resist.
You're
see
going to get ads on your car
Your time
whenever
has
we're
come.
old. Not even old.
Do not
Whenever
dare
we're 50,
resist.
we're going to be
Civilian
having ads
structure
inside of
complete.
our car.
Your time has come. Last chance
one
to
big
join the
pattern.
unity.
And I'm not saying that,
Last
oh,
chance
it's
to join the
gaming that's
unity.
helping to push this entire
Very
AI
wise.
situation. No, it just so happens that, well,
Say
it's
no
just
more.
falling in the perfect spot for these companies
Yeah.
to be able to take advantage of it. And of course, they're going to be taking advantage of it. That's
Mining
exactly what they're
upgrade
doing
complete.
right now. It's where coincidence and opportunity have collided for these guys. And it just so happens that your
Very
money,
wise.
your hobby,
Another
and your
planet
enjoyment
joins the unity.
are caught in the middle of it.
You will be purged.
Ironically, this is happening at the
Death
worst
will
possible
cleanse
time
your
for us
sins.
because the console wars are effectively dead. Exclusivity is largely gone at this point outside
Thank
of
God.
Nintendo.
Yeah,
and
fucking Nintendo.
these guys don't care about pushing their games to be able to make profit. They're trying to profit off of their services and off of their hardware now.
That's actually a really good point too. I don't know if they're going to profit after the hardware. I'm not sure if I'd agree with that, but I think that the using services and service fees, that is going to be the new way that companies make money. And I think that the best use case of that, and like the the I guess like the frame of reference they use is Valve and how much money they've made with exchange
Is it
fees,
time?
transaction fees with CS:GO.
Implicitly.
So you have all of these people that are able to make tons of money on like these, fractional microtransaction costs that just kind of it's like,
future is ours.
like how do ants eat something that's really big? Well, they eat it one little bit at a time, right?
Commerce
But
upgrade
eventually, it's gone, and that's what they do.
All the stars are aligning in the wrong way for us at this moment. There is
Yes.
so much money hatting going on
So many
in
regulations,
AI right
so it's
now.
not gonna happen.
It's just absolutely crazy. Every single one of these companies has their hand in each other's pockets. If you see where some of this money
Yes.
goes, you see one company gives it to another, that company gives it to another, and then it goes straight back to the source. They're just circling all.
Planet item
Like, I mean,
ready.
yeah, it doesn't like it's like Meta, or like I have a friend, he's like an engineer at Meta.
Civilian
Like, we
structure
went to high school
complete.
together, and we were talking about this. It's like basically a human centipede. It is, and it's like, oh, numbers going up, numbers going up, numbers going up. Yeah, well, they're paying each other.
all this wealth while squeezing us as hard as they
Yeah,
possibly
Enron? No, he was even telling me, he's like, yeah, they came
Is
out
it
and they said they're
time?
not Enron. And it's like, okay.
can, trying to make as much money off of us as they possibly can and force us into poverty is what it feels like. Probably actually exactly.
That's
I don't wanna talk
working.
about that right
That's
now.
working very well.
I mean,
It's extremely
NVIDIA
effective.
and Microsoft
Civilian
are
structure
the biggest
complete.
perpetrators here, and
Hostility
both of these
research
guys
complete.
have cloud
Commerce
gaming
upgrade
services.
complete.
Of
They
course.
have no problem with hardware prices spiking and people.
Because
Is
it,
it
it all
time?
leads into their business
Civilian
model.
structure
It
complete.
fulfills their business model, and it accelerates their business model for hardware prices to be basically unapproachable.
not being able to get into higher end hardware. That sounds great to these guys.
Yeah.
And they're going to
Civilian
continue to
structure
expand. They're going to
complete.
continue to invest. And they're doing that off of the back of investments that they're getting from private and public investors and also from the government.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We're paying them to price us out of our own hobbies. We're paying them so they can scrape our data, sell it back to us in a censored way that reinforces their own fucking control.
Civilian structure complete.
And we're supposed to be
Destiny
happy.
unfolds.
The fleet
It's
embraces
insane.
new
These guys
vessels.
effectively have
I'm done
price
doing it.
control
No, you're
over
not.
the hardware industry.
No, you're not.
Because,
No more.
well, they can
You're
just
not
order
done.
them out of
Destiny
stock.
unfolds.
It's only
Well,
just
right now,
started.
this is limited to higher end hardware. It's going to trickle down to lower end hardware.
It
I've
will.
seen some people talk about, well, I'll just buy
Civilian
DDR4,
structure
it's cheaper.
complete.
You're not the only one thinking that.
Oh wow! Instead of 5, I'm gonna get 4. Oh my god, this guy's so
Colony
smart.
Research complete. Mining upgrade
And because this
complete.
scarcity is largely inauthentic and
Civilian
inorganic
structure complete.
and is being controlled, well, that means that they're just going to affect those markets regardless. And the same thing goes for console markets as well. They can use the exact same
Hostility
excuse.
research
No, well, because the data
Civilian
center
structure
expansion,
complete.
sorry, the GPUs
Stand
or
by for
the
phase
RAM or
jump.
whatever else is too expensive for this console. It's going to have to be more expensive. They're going to push it there too. And the reason why is because these guys do not need hardware to be able to make money off you anymore.
Say no
It's
more.
not necessary for them. They can farm.
And that's a good thing too, by the way. It's a good thing that, I mean, cloud gaming
Say
is
no
going to make
more.
technology
Another
more
planet
accessible
joins
to
the
everybody.
Unity.
It will be an improvement and it will be better for everybody. But the problem is that the approach to getting there is very unpleasant and painful.
Planet item ready.
That's it.
the people who can afford it, and then they can push those who can't into subscription services and cloud services where they
Yeah.
can feed you
Logistics
ads
upgrade
or
complete.
you pay a monthly sub.
For what costs?
Speak
Well,
your
I think that
mind.
again, like you guys,
Civilian
this is
structure
really important to keep in
complete.
mind, right? Is that for a lot of us here, we are
Do we have the strength
1%.
to purge them?
We are 1%
forces
in
have
regards
engaged
to
the enemy.
a lot of you guys make a lot of money. You know, I generally have an
Do we have
older
the strength
audience.
to
This is
purge
a
them?
tech and computer, you know, video game
Vengeance
based
is a
channel.
cruel
So you have a lot of people
mistress.
that are like involved in, you know, that kind of stuff. A lot of people make money, right? And I, you know, who? A lot of people. Like every time if I go to an event, the people that own the business
Exotics have
probably
been
fucking know me.
unveiled by our
And so
scribes.
that's it. I have a digital empire. There you go. And so I'm not saying everybody, but I'm saying that I have a very high ratio of those people. So what my point is that
Hostility
obviously for
research
us,
complete.
the ability
Got a job
to
for me?
invest in, and
the
also
death.
like a lot of you guys, like we play video games a lot, right? Let's say, and
We
we're
must
older,
be
so
vigilant.
you have more resources generally. This is
Inaction will
generally.
be
I'm
our
saying
undoing.
generally, not everybody. Generally, okay? Relax. So because of that,
Our future has
you
become
might still want
uncertain.
to be an enthusiast.
must
You
keep
might
our
still
wits
want
about
to
us.
invest in the highest hardware and do all this stuff yourself. But what I'm saying is that for an average person, for a lower income person, that person will be able to access higher quality technology at a lower cost with cloud gaming in probably, I would say, 10 years. And I think less than that.
Doesn't that just sound lovely?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm sure it sounds great to these
Research
guys.
complete.
I'm sure they're
That's
all
what's
in
gonna
on
happen.
this idea.
Civilian structure
And
complete.
I'm sure if
I
I
thought
was
it
in
was
one of
gonna
those
happen.
rooms, it'd probably sound pretty good to me.
Unveiled by
But
our scribes.
this entire
Planet
thing
item
is
ready.
incredibly risky for them to
Inaction
do.
will be our
Not because
undoing.
anybody's actually going to come in and try to
As
interrupt
you
it. That's
wish.
not going to happen, at
To the
least not for
death.
a while.
You
But
pick 'em, I'll
they're under the
stick 'em.
assumption
They're not going to be able to because all of the companies inside of the
Inaction will be our
ecosystem are
undoing.
already kind of
We
inside the
must
same
keep our
game.
wits about us.
And a lot of companies
Another
also,
planet
these big
joins the
companies push for
Unity.
regulations
More credits
that pull
are
the ladder up
required.
and make
Mining
getting into a
upgrade
market
complete.
very hard to do. So it's not like somebody can just start going in and selling RAM, let's say, for example, because there's probably like 7,000 regulations for it that are created by these big companies in order for them to maintain their monopoly.
that customers are going to continue to
So it is.
chase them wherever they go. We're chasing the highest end hardware,
Exotics
the
have
highest
been
end games, but
unveiled by
that's
our
not
scribes.
necessarily what's been
Vengeance is a
happening.
cruel
See, the
mistress.
question they need to be asking
Desecrators
themselves
assault
is
our
what
world.
happens when players go in a different direction entirely? Because that's exactly what's happening right now.
Yeah, I think so.
Not to interrupt the flow
Absolutely.
of this video, but man, it really sucks that we even
Quickly,
have to be
you must
talking
guide
about any
us.
of this. We should be celebrating what this
vengeance
industry is
or
capable
give
of,
us
especially with the
death.
Game Awards right
For
around the
once,
corner.
our
I've been
minds feel
eyeing a second playthrough of
unharmonious.
Expedition 33, and
Oh.
every time I think about that game, how confidently it ignored
Got a
all of the
job for me?
noise, how it cuts
Planet
through
item ready.
everything. All of
Without
this
delay.
industry's nonsense. It reminds me of how things
Exotics have
could
been
be, how
unveiled
things
by our
should be,
scribes.
and it also
No
reminds me
mercy.
of how disgusting these
Not
executives
enough
are
crystal.
who want to drag this hobby into the mud for profit. I genuinely
Hostility
believe
research
that these
complete.
major hardware and software companies think raising the
Vengeance
price
is a
floor is going to
cruel
guarantee them
mistress.
victory. If people
We
can't
remain
afford new hardware,
skeptical.
they're just going to default to cloud or whatever subscription.
They will. I think that's what will happen. I do. I think
Exotics
actually
have
that
been
is what will happen.
unveiled by our scribes.
Like I know people say like, "Oh, I won't do that." I think that's what will happen.
service pipeline that they want to
Yeah.
shove us
think it'll
into.
work.
And once players are trapped in those ecosystems, well, then these companies have full control. They can raise
Yeah.
the prices, they can tier their access, they can lock features behind
True.
a monthly fee, they can do what
they're gonna Netflix you, right? They're gonna get you in Netflix in 2008. Oh my God, everybody had it, right? Like we all had Netflix back then, or our parents had it. And then slowly
Is it
over
time?
time, the
Harmony
enshittification
research
of the product
complete.
happens. And I think that's where things are going to go with something like cloud gaming. I think at the beginning it's going to be great,
Very
and then I
wise.
think that you're going to have artificial, like let's say latency latency increases, right? Like if you want a
Hostility
fiber optic
research
connection
complete.
or like a higher, like a precision, like machine or connection,
Harmony
you're going to have to pay
research
more money.
complete.
And then if you want certain games, you're going to have to pay more money. And then suddenly you're getting piecemealed and dissected until you're paying like $50 a month, right? And this is what happened with Game Pass, is that Microsoft
Exotics
invested a
have been
tremendous amount of
unveiled
money
by our
into making
scribes.
Game Pass a really great deal and a tremendous value. It was a great deal and a tremendous value. I think it was. I've had Game Pass. I think it's amazing. But here's what happens,
Stand
is
by
that
for
after you
face
establish
down.
that market, after you control the market, now you can raise
Commerce
the
upgrade
price
complete.
and you don't have as many competitors in the space that are really going to, like, you're going to lose business to. You can just
The
do that.
future is ours.
And that's what happens.
whatever they want. They can even slide ads in with almost no
Our
friction.
forces have
That is the
engaged
future
the
that these
enemy.
AAA publishers want.
Civilian structure
Now, the problem for them
complete.
is that I don't think this plan is actually going to work in the real world. It's built on the assumption that everybody needs the highest end experience, that we are all
Exotics have been
desperate for
unveiled by our
cutting-edge
scribes.
AAA titles, and we'll
Civilian
follow the
structure
industry
complete.
wherever it tries to push us, but that
An
ignores the
auction
biggest risk in
is
their entire
underway.
strategy. One that is
Planet
already
Item
happening right
ready.
now. What if people don't buy in? What if players stop chasing
Civilian
high-end
structure
entirely? What
complete.
if they split into a different direction, a shift that ends up starving
Hostility
AAA
research
while
complete.
fueling the rise of studios who can thrive without expensive hardware?
I do
Civilian
think
I'm going to give you guys
structure
two
complete.
business terms.
I do think this will happen also as well, is that, and you're already seeing this happen, where smaller indie studios are able to bring out video games at a infinitely
Very
lower price
wise.
point. Well, not infinitely
Mining
lower,
upgrade
but like,
complete.
$10 versus
Last chance
$70
to join
price
the
point.
Unity.
And I think they've been able to
Destiny
capture a huge
unfolds.
market of people.
Civilian
Demand
structure
destruction and
complete.
market
It's very true.
bifurcation. Demand destruction is when prices stay so high for so
You
long that people just stop
failed to
buying a
place a
product
bid.
altogether. Market bifurcation
planet
is when a market
joins the
splits into two
Unity.
groups that behave completely
Destiny
differently. The
unfolds.
haves and have-nots in this
Say
case,
no
if you will.
more.
And we're seeing both of these happen in the gaming
Civilian
industry
structure
right now,
complete.
even if the shift has been
Hostility
relatively slow.
research tier complete.
Just take a look at Steam's latest
Very
hardware
wise.
survey. NVIDIA's brand new 50 series GPUs, they're not
Say
even in
no
the top 10.
more.
They're not even in the top 15. The 5070 sits at number 60. The
Very
5060
wise.
is 22nd. And
Hostility
all their
research
other high-end
complete.
cards, they might as well not even exist at all. The top 5
Stand
are
by for
dominated
face
by
jump.
lower-end 30
Harmony
and 40
research
series
complete.
cards.
Well,
and the
I mean, it makes perfect sense. Like, I mean, these higher end cards are really expensive.
Our forces have engaged
I mean, they
the
are.
enemy.
They're really expensive. Like, an average person doesn't have $1,000 to spend on a graphics card.
It's a deal.
I mean, really, like, that's insane.
GTX 1650,
Like,
a
look at this. Like, I mean, yeah, and
Speak
a
your mind.
3060.
Destiny
I think,
unfolds.
yeah, you can run a lot of things with a
Mining upgrade
3060.
complete.
Especially with DLSS. I know people
is
don't like it,
ours.
but I think people probably like DLSS more than spending $2,000, especially
Desecrators
whenever they
assault
don't have
our world.
$2,000.
Vengeance is a cruel
6-year-old
mistress.
GPU is still holding strong.
is.
People are not upgrading. And when they do, they're choosing the cheapest, most sensible option they can, either because of the cost or because they don't see any reason to chase higher end hardware anymore.
The Unity
I think
has
that this
fallen
industry has
silent on
4070,
completely
it's amazing.
misread this. I think that they're looking at these numbers and assuming that people want the highest end hardware but simply can't afford it.
Yep.
But that doesn't really track
it
with
time?
reality.
Well, I think it is true that people can't afford it, but the thing is that affordability is always a spectrum. Like, the
Legion
reality is that
raises new
for
vessels.
like a 3060
Speak your
is going to be able to
mind.
run like
Say no
90%
more.
of games, right? 95% of games. And so are you really going to make a very large purchasing decision
Vengeance
for
is a
being
cruel
able to play a
mistress.
handful of video games with a different water texture? There's a huge diminishing returns there. Huge. And like, for maybe a guy that's a computer enthusiast or something like that, yeah, they're going to do that. But for most other people, they're not. 3060 can run Megabonk at 8K. I believe that. I do. I believe that. I want to say that I did rendering for my PC, my streaming PC. That's the one that's behind me. One of those. I've a fucking computer graveyard over there. But the blue one, the one I had, it had a 2080 Ti. And I had that computer from like 2020 or 2021 up until like 3 weeks ago. Not a single problem.
Switch 2 broke
No, it was blue. That way the temperature of the computer would stay low. You can get a red computer, and that one goes really fast, but it can overheat because it's red. Or you can get a blue computer, and that one doesn't go as fast, but it doesn't overheat.
Do not abandon me.
Console sales records by selling over 2.4 million units in only 3 months. And nobody believes that that's cutting-edge hardware. People bought it because they wanted the games, not the specs. And beyond that, these companies are operating under the idea that players want to upgrade just to be able to play the latest AAA releases. But why would anybody want to do that anymore? Why would we want to spend thousands of dollars on a new rig or a console when these games come out broken day one? Borderlands 4 is still a performance nightmare with the developers issuing apology after apology. Monster Hunter
there's no excuse. There's no excuse for it to be bad. Expedition 33 was made with Unreal 5. Monster Hunter was total garbage. The original Dragon's Dogma wasn't like this. You have Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Like, you know what I wish Jeff Keighley would do? I wish that he would make a category for video games for optimization or making a game accessible for like lower end systems. I feel like it would be kind of like more of a tech award, but I think that companies like, Warhorse, right, that made Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I really think they deserve a tremendous amount of acknowledgement for that. And you have now also Where Winds Meet. There's another one too. And, maybe for the Shame Awards, we'll have to do the opposite, right? Like, is the winner going to be, geez, guys, is this going to be Borderlands 4 or Monster Hunter Wilds?
Where's the target?
Who's the biggest loser here?
Engaged the enemy. You will be purged.
Wilds tanked all of its momentum and its reputation because it couldn't run properly either. These are two of the biggest AAA releases this year, and both of them are defined by the same problems. There has been a sharp decline in sales across the board for AAA because people just aren't impressed anymore. And that's the part that these companies don't really seem to understand, is that
the issue also is like a lot of these AAA games, they are making graphical enhancements, but the enhancements are so granular that, I mean, really, people can't really hardly see them. I mean, you're having, and I think that also graphical fidelity is overrated. Stylistic lighting is underrated. Two great games that emphasize this are three, actually. Wuthering Waves, that's the weakest example. My strongest example is Elden Ring. If you actually look at Godfrey, you look at their character models, they look like shit. They look like absolute garbage. Like, the actual fidelity pixel count for a lot of the things in Elden Ring are very mediocre. But because of the lighting, colors, and shading in the game, it looks incredible. And the other one that's very new, that some people said in chat, Where Winds Meet. Incredible, amazing game, awesome graphics, but the fidelity is very low. But it's made up for because of the lighting, the shading, and the style of the game.
Games don't justify the hardware. The hardware stops selling.
Sure. Yeah,
when the hardware stops selling, the high-end market freezes, and AAA is going to be the first thing to suffocate.
Style? Yeah.
What I think is happening right now, and it's only going to get worse for the AAA industry, is that with these rising hardware prices, especially if they bleed into the next generation of consoles, it's going to effectively put a stop to high-end gaming entirely. They are building a price wall that people cannot climb, and in doing so, they're going to just...
I think that you're always going to have high-end gaming be popular, but I do think that the gaming, like high-end PC gaming,
we are severely crippled.
It is probably on a timer.
Phase jump underway.
Destroy their own demand. Players do not trust AAA enough to be able to justify a $70.
I think it's like a 15-year, 20-year timer, but it's still a timer.
For a game, let alone a $1,000 console or a $4,000 PC upgrade. And if they're not buying the hardware or the games, well, why would we be interested in the services that are tied to them? What is the point of cloud gaming or subscriptions if the games on those services aren't worth our time? all that I think is actually going to happen is that this market is going to split. They're going to accidentally fuel the rise of AAA even further, which honestly is this industry in its purest form. Smaller teams, lower budgets, higher creativity, more original ideas, and no need to chase higher-end hardware. These games are targeting mid-range or even older systems by design. And when you look at what people are actually playing this year, Expedition 33, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Escape from Duck-Off, Mega Bonk, Ball.
I bet you can probably run, like, I bet a 2080 Ti could run Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 at approaching 60 FPS. Easily? I'm guessing? Yeah. There you go. That's insane. That's ridiculous.
And even Stellar Blade and Arc Raiders don't need a 5090 to run well.
Arc Raiders isn't
can get
super
everything they want without buying any of this high-end hardware at all. The funny thing is, when you zoom out on all this, there really is only two futures that are ahead of us right now. One is the one that the corporations want, and the one is the one players are actually moving towards right now. The corporate one is
I actually do think that there will be a growing demand for cloud gaming. I do think so, and I think that cloud gaming for a casual player will actually be a solution that has a large, sizable audience, and I think that that audience over time will eclipse PC and also console gaming. I think that it will probably always be mobile gaming that will be the biggest one because everybody has a phone and it's a common denominator. But after that, you're probably going to have cloud gaming be the most popular of the three because of its accessibility and the lower price point that it's going to have.
We cannot go on. We're crippled.
Obvious expensive hardware that nobody can buy. Cloud gaming is the affordable alternative. Subscriptions stacked on top of subscriptions. Ads baked straight into the experience. A world where every part of gaming is metered, tracked, monetized, and controlled.
Oh boy.
That is the endpoint that these guys have been building.
Yeah, Hardware Labs, this is about to say NVIDIA.
For years. Because in that future, they own everything, we own nothing. But there's been another future that's been forming underneath their feet this entire time. And it's one that these guys just haven't planned for. It's a future built by AA studios and mid-tier teams that have been making incredible games that run on any hardware. Hardware that people actually own. A future where the most popular game doesn't require a $4,000 rig or a $1,000 console. A future where creativity outperforms fidelity, where studios that are willing to take a risk end up defining the industry more than the one.
Creativity has always outperformed fidelity, by the way. You want to know the best example of that? Minecraft.
Ones that are burning $500
People just didn't realize it.
Another forgettable game.
Yep.
And I really think that this entire thing should terrify these AAA publishers. They should not be trying to lead into it. If these players stop upgrading, if they stop buying into high-end, then AAA is the one that becomes an endangered species.
That's true.
The budget stop.
That's actually a very good point. Is that AAA gaming and its necessity, it does rely on continually increasing the quality of products or the quality of the systems.
Making sense. The audiences shrink, and the only people that are going to be left thriving are the teams that never needed cutting-edge hardware to begin with. Because at the end of the day, we're the ones that decide where this industry goes. And if the industry starts building a future that we don't want, well, we simply just walk away.
Yep.
I have a strong feeling that outside of Grand Theft Auto 6, if it actually releases, next year is probably going to play out just the same as this year. There's just not going to be a lot of...
I think he's right. I think we're going to have a number of Dark Horse, incredibly very good, indie games, and I think that those indie games will keep gaming going, but it doesn't look like there's any AAA game that's coming out next year except for, like, maybe a handful that are, like, super amazing.
Winners in AAA. I mean, more than half of the nominees for Game of the Year this year were all independent or indie studios. And that's not just, oh, these are just awards. No, these are also some of the most beloved games by players and also some of the highest selling games that we've seen all year. And that's going to leave these guys with not a lot of other options. I know some people are probably going to say, oh, well, then they'll just start making AA games themselves. They'll just stuff these services with AA and they'll stuff them with indie games, but that really doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, of course not. The reason why they're AA is because the studios don't have the resources to make a AAA game. Like, that's the reason.
What is the point of your subscription service or your cloud service if, one, I have the hardware, so I can play those games regardless anyway, and two, those games are cheap to begin with.
Yeah.
Why would I want to pay $30 a month plus to be able to play games that I could buy for $15 to
it's like $5 exactly.
Doesn't make any sense. I mean, Game Pass, I know right now is about $30. I can guarantee you it's probably going to climb to 35 or even 45 next year. Who knows how that's going to go. And that's more than most people spend on video games in a month. It just doesn't make any sense. Nobody needs it. I don't need it. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, it's very,
This
very
is an
hard.
incredibly
And I
big
think
game.
also the other thing too is that
Our vengeance
like
is
you're going
yours.
after an audience that
Hostility
if the
research
price point is
complete.
too high
Our
doesn't
forces
exist.
have engaged
Because the
the
people that
enemy.
have a lot of free time probably don't have a lot of disposable income, and the people that have a lot of disposable income probably don't have a lot of free time.
Whatever
So
the Unity wills.
ubiquitous nature
Commerce
of, oh my
upgrade
god, you can play
complete.
150 games.
presence
These are
is
people who
strong.
struggle to finish one
Any
game.
last words?
So like where
foes
is
encroach
your
upon us.
like
Speak
what
your
is your
mind.
actual market here?
Say
I don't
no
know.
more. Shields down!
Dangerous path for the games
The
industry.
enema
to
That's a
follow
problem with
right now.
subscriptions.
And
Civilian
it's
structure
also
Content
something that
overload?
they
Yeah.
really shouldn't be
Civilian
supporting.
structure
I just don't
complete.
see a lot of movement in hardware.
Our vengeance
And
is yours.
helping to push those
The
prices even
unity
higher,
cleanses all.
you're going to starve yourself. Because I just don't see a lot of
Planet
people that are
item
chasing some
ready.
of these new releases.
The
Sure,
anima
we've seen
are
some
restless.
movement, we've seen some buzz,
Yeah.
but I don't know if you guys have noticed this.
Civilian
With a lot of these
structure
AAA
complete.
games, the minute that they come out, the hype around them
Our
dies. Like,
forces have engaged the
you just
enemy.
stop here.
When was the last AAA game? I guess like Battlefield 6 did really well. Besides that, when was the last AAA game that came out that was like a success? I mean, Ghost of Yotai was decent.
Your presence is strong.
Mining upgrade complete.
Yeah. Arc Raiders. Would you say Arc Raiders is a AAA game? I wouldn't. I didn't classify it as that personally.
Vengeance is a cruel mistress.
Civilian
Wukong.
structure complete.
I feel like yeah, it's a Chinese studio. It's a different grading.
Desecrators assault
It's a different
our
grading
world.
mechanism.
We
Hearing
await
about
your
them entirely.
command.
Battlefield
Army
6,
research
I think, is
complete.
probably
Yes.
the only one that I could
Our
point to this year that has
vengeance is
actually kind of
yours.
survived for the
We'll
most part.
consider it.
But Monster Hunter
The
Wilds, that game just absolutely
Don't
tanked
be
after its
sad.
first month. They haven't been able to sell, I don't even know
Your
if they even
presence
sold
is
another million
strong.
copies past the first 10 that they sold in that 1 month. That is crazy.
I mean, the game Monster Hunter, it just has so many problems, right? I mean, we could get into it, but yeah.
That is not good, man. That is not good. And when we're starting to see equipment dive off of a cliff like this, you're going to have to come down to meet those players. And if you're
Yeah.
not willing to do that, you're in a lot of trouble. I can tell you that right
Well,
now.
you're just,
I'm
you're
curious.
not going to be able to make your money back because your activatable market, your market is not large enough in order for you to make your money back. It's very simple. Like I remember I learned this. It sounds stupid,
Vengeance
but
is
like
a
I learned
cruel
this when I was making
mistress.
gauntlets in Burning Crusade as a
vengeance
blacksmith.
is yours.
And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, well, how many people really want these?
Hostility
How many people
research
are there really
complete.
that can buy these? And like the amount of money that I'm investing into this, am I really going to, if you take this fixed cost and you amortize this
All
out of,
power to
or
Jump
like
The
spread it
Legion
over,
raises new
the
vessels.
amount of different items that you would
enema
need to
are
sell in order to
restless.
make the money back, you're
Control
never actually going to
created.
make the money back out of this. And like eventually,
Mining
I think that
upgrade
they're going to hit that
complete.
same point too.
Our will
Is that
is
the
transcendent.
like the activatable market will be so low that you can't even there's not even a business model that's a winning business model. It just doesn't work.
To know what hardware you
Vengeance is
guys
a
use.
cruel mistress.
I want to
Yeah.
know what people are actually using because I can see a Steam survey and I talk to people in our
Additional
community
coordinates
Discord. If you guys
needed.
don't
Our will
engage in our
is
community Discord, you should.
transcendent.
It's a group of absolutely fantastic people, but most people there are on lower end hardware. A lot of people that I know outside of myself, the only reason why I have a rig as great as I have or as expensive as I have is
Yeah.
because of all the work I do with editing and recording and all that stuff. Outside of that, I wouldn't use it. I wouldn't get it. Are you kidding me?
Whatever the unity
True.
wills.
I'd be playing on
Very
something
true.
else entirely. I'd probably still be playing on the 2080 or 3080 that I have behind me. But
Our vengeance is yours.
yeah, I'm really interested to see where all this stuff
Production of
goes.
the item is
The one thing,
complete.
the one
The
thing that I find
Unity
really
has fallen
interesting about
silent
this,
on one
if
of our
you're a
planets.
AAA publisher or
We
if you're just
await
a
your
bigger publisher in the
command.
games industry at all,
We are
I would
ready.
be really interested to see how they feel about a
Your
company like
presence is
Microsoft
strong. All power
having the
to jump
influence that
drive.
they have right now, because they're making the industry incredibly uncomfortable
There's
for
nothing
a
they
lot
can
of
do.
these other companies.
Yeah.
Just as a byproduct of what they're
Vengeance is
doing
a
on their
cruel mistress.
AI side, all the investments that they're making, all
Well,
the
that-
money that they're putting into.
I mean, yeah, of course they're going to
Primary
focus on
research
AI
complete.
because like making video games, like the problem is like the ceiling for AI right now is theoretically infinite, but the ceiling for selling video games is finite. And I think that they've been at that ceiling for a while. So obviously they're going to go into something
required.
else.
all of these different data centers and things like that, the increasing of prices of hardware specifically pretty much across the board, that becomes a threat for a lot of these other companies. So I'm wondering what their perspective on this is. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did enjoy the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitch, follow me on Kick, follow me on Twitter. And make sure you guys come back later this week. I think I have like 2 more videos that I have to do.
Wow.
This one just kind of popped out. I don't know.
Production of the item is complete.
But anyway, stay cool, stay righteous, stay safe. I'll catch you guys soon.
Inhibitor to trap our fleet.
I feel like this is going to be a big one, and I think it's going to continue getting worse over time too.
Guys,
for pricing until you have affordable cloud gaming. I think pricing is just going to get harder and harder. I don't think that you're going to see RAM prices or any of that go down anytime soon, because again, I don't really see these companies trying to change trying to change anything else, right? They're probably just not going to do that just because of something very short. So yeah, Amazon probably has the same logic chasing AI, which is why they're letting Twitch run wild. I think that's probably true. I do. I think it's probably true. And they don't really care. And I think that really this is the holy grail for all of these tech companies, is to approach AI and to have a foothold in the AI ecosystem. And if they're able to do that, then they're going to be having a great time. They're going to be having an amazing time, a great time, and they're going to be fucking trillionaires. But if they don't do that, then they could go the way of Yahoo, right? Do you want to be Yahoo? No, you don't. So I think that's really the big reason why. And money printers eventually? Yeah, I guess so. And yeah, anyway, give the video a sub, give Legendary Drops a like. This is a really good video, and I think he's talking about this. Again, I think that there are a lot of just logistical and structural reasons why this is happening. And I think realistically, like an overnight price increase, I mean, how much RAM can you realistically make, right? Because you have a whole supply chain that has to change because of this thing. It's hard to do that, really. Have you checked your Twitch recap? No, I haven't. The first time I felt like actually something outside of gaming with some of these discussions. Yeah, no, I thought this was a really good video, man. And again, I think it's one of these topics that the more that, like, I mean, because gaming and technology are the same thing, right? I mean, they are. And so the more that you talk about gaming, and especially now that, like we already had this happen with crypto, for example, is that, you have a lot of gaming stuff that's now being encroached on by crypto in the past, and now it's AI. I think that, yeah, it's like you have to understand this stuff, and if you don't, you're going to have a really bad time. That's really it. It's unavoidable, like Yahoo. Yeah, I guess so.
We're going down!
Harmony research complete.
Our armor is breached!
Okay.
Yanma are restless.
So,
Glory to the Unity!
I think this show is like 30 minutes longer than it had to be. I do. I think it's like 2.5 hours almost. This show was. This shit went on for a while. And
so much silly stuff. It was great.
Like, I mean, I think some of the skits are okay, but like, I feel like you should have like a time limit, like 20 seconds. 20 seconds.
Spaceships.
Say the funny thing, do the funny thing, and then stop. Then quit. That's what I would say. I need chemotherapy after this. I can see why you would say that. But like, just in general, that's what I think about it, right? I mean, I think overall, was the show good? I think that it definitely got a lot better. Like at the beginning, I was like, but then over time, it got to be good. That's where I was at. That's where I'm at. I think it improved a lot over time. So yeah, is it 4 out of 10? No, I'm just being honest. Yeah. And I'm only thinking about the games. I think they announced some decent games that I'm kind of excited for, right? Like that one Morrowind game, that shit was badass. That was great.
All those children and the puppies. Think of the puppies.
Yeah, Xbox show blew out of water. I think it was good.
Once again,
Yeah.
bloody train.
They really, there's a lot of talking, huh? Dev's talking about the games for 10 minutes. Yeah, that one, the Imagine Dragons game, bro. Oh my God.
The trains of Vauxhall.
That was so bad. Jesus, that was bad. But besides that, though, the other ones were okay. But that was a real fucking problem. I tell you that. So yeah, the game was terrible. It was so fucking. It looked like a hyper omega. Let's see what the chat says. What does the chat say? The show was No Man's Sky all along. Thank you for joining us. Why we are surprised also. One more game. Fable, on the other hand, nobody's playing this. Apparently that's not true, and a lot of people seem to like it. Are we really living in the age of millennial slop? Here's the worst part about it, is that I'm a millennial, so that means my entire life I'm gonna have to listen to millennial jokes. My whole life, I'm gonna have to listen to this shit.
When you should be listening to me explaining things to you.
This is only, yeah, you gotta keep in mind, this is the beginning. This is not even millennials at full power.
When you should be listening to me explain things to you.
Just wait till we get on, you know, you got millennials in Congress calling dogs doggos and puppers. Because that's coming. You understand that? That's happening. We're the worst? Yeah, it's, yeah. Unks too? Well, that's more of a Gen Z one, to be honest. But yeah, anyway, millennials ruin movies. They ruin everything. Well, anyway, the show, I think it was, I think they went overboard with the skits. They definitely went overboard with the skits. There's always too many, like, again, people are watching this to watch the show, right? They don't want to hear your, you know, funny meme thing that you're gonna say or some other bullshit. Like, it's okay to have a little bit of that, but some of these shows just really have too much. They have too much of it. And so that's the way I would see it. They need to stretch the time out. They really don't, though. They really don't. I think that short, sweet, to the point, direct, a few funny skits, and that's it. The only good one, in my opinion, was the Mafia guy. The Mafia guy was great. The stranger, this guy right here, remember him? He was great. Everybody else was like, you know, like, did we really need to do this, right? And so, other than that, no more skits. It's, again, it's not no more skits. It's that you need to just make sure that they only last for like 10 seconds, like at the most. Like, it's say the funny thing, do the funny thing, now we move on, right? But like, if you have one that goes on, because I remember I complained about this with the OTK game show even. I said, we'd fucking around too much. We fucking around. This is a 4-hour show. 4 fucking hour show, are you kidding me? Like, and so I'd be thinking about that myself and thinking, God damn, like, we're really wasting everybody's time. So that's really what I think. Anyway, overall, I mean, I do appreciate them doing the show. I'll give it a like. I do really appreciate it. Even though some of this stuff I didn't agree with, it was kind of annoying. You know, it's good content for me, right? I take some good content, right? How about that? So yeah.
Shields down! We are severely
I'm gonna be honest, bro. Like, I went live today for one fucking reason. It's to play this game. Like, I played this shit yesterday, or not yesterday, the day before, and like, we went, whoo, we went in on this game. Like, game of the year. It's in my opinion right now is game of the year. Like, I am so into this game. I've been having so much fun playing this game. Like, yeah, that was it. This game is peak cinema. Do you think it's game of the year? No, I don't think it's game of the year. I know it's game of the year. It's gonna be game of the year 100%. Like, there's no way it loses. Like, I think that. So the reason why I think it's going to be game of the year is because, so if I compare this and you know, you think about it, you compare it with obviously Death Stranding 2, right? I think that's going to be another really big contender. I think that this is going to come out ahead. One of the big reasons why is because of what it represents for the gaming industry. It is a new version of turn-based combat that was used previously, but it was never really done properly. That's number one. Number two, it was a tiny studio that made this game, which defied every expectation and assumption that people had with game development. And number three, there's no part of this game that's bad. There's nothing about it that's like, you know, for example, like, there are some things, like Final Fantasy 16, for example, right? Like, the exploration was really bad, and, like, the RPG elements were really bad. But with this game, that's not the case. Like, every part of this, and also it's cheap, too. That's another great example. It's $50. That's a better point than what I was making, actually. It's a $50 game. So, cheap game, small studio, defies all expectations inside of a genre that makes a synthesis between two very popular genres in a way that's popular, and it does really well. Now, I'm gonna be honest, guys. I'm really worried that I'm going to be bad today. Because I played Doom yesterday, and the parry window for Doom was so big that I don't know if I'm going to be able to parry at all today. Like, I actually had to, and I had to quit playing Assassin's Creed Shadows because of how fucking easy the,
All shall join the Unity in time.
because of how fucking easy, you know what the other thing I wanted to do was, before I do any of this, I wanted to go back and kill that big fat dick sucker. Do you remember the big fat dick sucker on the original island? I want to go kill him real quick and do that. Makes sense? Yeah, exactly, right? The side hoe? Yeah. Maybe we're gonna just move around. Yeah, you can fuck him up. Yeah, I will. It's gonna be no problem now. So have you quit Doom because it sucks? I didn't quit Doom because it sucked. I started playing this game because it's better. It's a little bit different, right? Like, I don't think Doom sucks. I just really want to play this game.
You may speak.
I'm gonna go back and I want to go kill that cockboy. A parry god lives within you? Yeah, but we've got to reawaken him. What the fuck?
The anima are restless.
Sprog? Who the fuck is Sprog? Why does he have 3 turns?
Armor down! Only the Unity can protect us now!
More credits are required. The anima are restless.
Okay, let's do a marking shot. Okay.
We'll consider it.
Cry for mercy!
Harmony research complete.
The shields are offline. We cannot survive without armor. Victory is in hand. Our shields no longer protect us. We are severely crippled. Glory to the Unity!
I think we're gonna go somewhere else.
We're going down! Our armor is breached!
Yep, we're gonna go somewhere else. I don't think we're ready for him yet. He does too much damage.
We're going down!
He's a little bit too strong for us. Let's go over here.
Speak your mind.
I don't think so either. Yeah, just really, really bad time there, huh? Okay, it was this guy over this way, I'm pretty sure.
Your presence is strong.
And he was right over... I think he was right over here.
Encroach upon us.
Our shields
No?
have failed. Armor is
Where the hell was he?
We won't last long.
I'm getting lost.
Research complete.
Maybe it was this way. Yeah, it was this way.
We are ready.
I'm actually going to explore around and see what else is in the world.
Crippled and defenseless.
He's killable, you just have to not get hit for 2 hours.
Strong.
Yeah, for sure.
Shields down.
Yeah, I can definitely do that.
Unity.
All right,
We perish. Our armor is
now we're going to
breached.
kill this dick sucker.
Our ship is lost. Shields down. We are severely crippled.
God Gamer, that's right.
Shields down.
Okay,
Cry for mercy.
okay.
We are hopelessly crippled. We're going down.
Um,
Our armor is breached.
why am I not able to pop his thing? I don't know why I wasn't able to.
Vengeance is a cruel mistress.
Did I
We are
miss?
destroyed. Avenge us. Shields down. We
I
are
missed?
severely crippled. Shields down. We're exposed to attack. Our destruction is at hand.
Okay.
Shields down. We're going down. Our armor is breached. Shields down.
Get him out of here.
Armor is breached. Feel
All right, now we
our
big dick him.
wrath.
Yes! Yes! Get him out of here. Okay, and for this, we'll go ahead and we'll do... Let's do marking shot as well. Nice. And then for her, let's go ahead and do...
Armor down. Only the Unity can save us now. Vengeance is
As
a
much as I
cruel
want to do
mistress.
Mayhem, I feel like it's not really the right option right now. I think we're just going to immolate him. Yeah, let's just immolate him. 3,000, it's not bad.
We are severely
He ate
crippled.
Verso. That's kind of bad.
Our wrath. Our armor is breached.
Okay.
Shields down!
All right, now let's go ahead and we'll do.
We are severely crippled. Shields down!
We'll do immolation again.
We're going down! Shields
Yep, it's fine. Okay, and then we'll do pierce.
We're going down!
Nice.
Hostility research complete.
Let's down.
All right.
The enemy will know our wrath.
Rune, watch out.
Shall join the unity in time.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine, guys.
The unity
Everything's okay.
commands
She's
your
got 12 health.
destruction.
That's all I need.
Going down! Shields down!
Okay, I'm just gonna immolation again.
Our armor is breached! We
It
are
doesn't matter.
severely crippled. Is the unity
Okay.
with us? Our armor
Swift
is
strike
breached.
again.
Our armor is breached.
Maybe I could do rain of fire.
We are severely crippled. We're going down! Shields down!
Yeah, I'm gonna do rain of
We're
fire.
going down!
I've never used this ability before.
The unity's wrath made to manifest.
Okay,
Our armor is breached!
parrying everything.
Hostility research complete.
Our armor is breached!
The fleet embraces new vessels.
Our minds awaken. Our armor is breached! We're going down! We are severely crippled. We're going down!
Let's just res her up again.
New modules installed.
And we're gonna go ahead and just res her. We're gonna shoot him. That way we get a stain.
Severely crippled. We are severely crippled. Shields down!
Nice.
We're going down!
I'm gonna parry these.
Shields down!
Ready to evade.
Breached! We're going down!
Rune, watch out.
Nice. Yes.
Shields down! Our armor is breached!
Okay.
Shields down! We are severely crippled. Vengeance
Swift
is a
strike.
cruel mistress. We're going
Nice.
down. We are severely crippled.
And now we mayhem him.
We are severely crippled.
Oh, it's gonna break him.
We're going down.
Yes.
Hostility research complete.
Jesus.
The unity
Oh, he's
calls
getting
us to
dicked.
action.
We're going down.
Oh, he's
We
getting
obey
omega
the
dick.
unity's will.
We are severely crippled.
Okay.
The unity commands your destruction.
You guys will see why I'm doing that.
We are severely
Okay.
crippled.
Join us or
Yes. Yes.
the enemy will
Yes.
know our wrath.
Shields down.
Now we